What up, everybody? This your boy B Rob, and I'm back with another edition of the Random Rambles with Rob podcast. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you, the listener, for coming back each and every week, or however you listen to podcasts. If you're a first-time listener, I appreciate you oh so much for giving my show a try. And if anybody recommended you to me, go ahead and use your social media app of choice to send them a well-crafted DM to tell them thank you for recommending you to me. Speaking of social media, you can find the Random Rambles with Rob on various social media platforms to include Twitter at 3R Show, Instagram at The 3R Show, Facebook, you can type in the Random Rambles with Rob or go to facebook.com/3R Show. And for anything that I may have forgotten, like my YouTube page, you can go 3R Show, something like that. But since I did forget it properly in the intro, you can go to randomrob.com and you can find all the things that I may have mentioned or may have not mentioned in many different ways that you can help support the show and so on and so forth, yada, 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 yakety schmackety. So, have a guest joining me as per usual. One that is, I don't know what the time zone is right now, but is it early there or is it late there?
It's actually 10 p.m. So it's,
at night. Yeah, so I would be laying in the bed staring at the ceiling right now, hoping to fall asleep if it was that time here. But it is only 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So I'm not going to keep you too long, so we can go ahead and roll through this. Joining me is author, creator of the Epics of, and remember, I just talked about this, how I have problems with names and stuff, but the Epics of Enkidu. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yes. I got it right.
That's right. Yeah.
Author, creator, Ahmed Alameen. Damn it. See, I did it with my hands. But sir,
yeah,
welcome.
Thanks, man. Thank you. My pleasure to be here.
Yes. So, how are we doing? I know I asked before we started recording proper, but I had to ask officially so everybody around the world knows how you're doing.
Well, I'm in quarantine at the moment. It's still quarantine time here. They think they're gonna, tone it down in 3 weeks, but who knows? Just hoping for the best in Kuwait. But yeah, I mean, we're surviving. Everything is fine, right?
Yeah.
See, it gives me more time to work on my thing and spend more time with the missus. So yeah.
So how's that working out? The more time with the missus, because I mean you've been put through a little bit of a dilemma here with your Indiegogo campaign, and I think you're on day of cooking for a month straight.
Yeah, well, like the last 4 days I got a little under the weather, so it's supposed to be like yesterday was day 3 of me cooking, and I cook every day, but I only film the things I never did before. So one of them is like last time I just I did the bread for the first time. I never did baked bread by myself, so this is the first time I do that, and yeah. So yeah, I right now it's day 3 of me cooking. I don't think the people on the show knows what we're talking about, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. Go ahead and give us a little background or anything. We have your comic that you have Indiegogo.
Yeah.
It's funded and whatnot, but you and your wife had a little side bet of if it does well by this point in time that you had to do a list of things, and cooking for a month straight was one of them, I believe.
Was one of them, yeah. And I also did another list for her to do if the campaign was successful, actually. And we did a video on YouTube about it, because we never revealed this list for each other. So we filmed it while we revealed what's in the list at the same time, and you can see our reactions to each item in the list. And one of them was me cooking for a month, yeah. And so far it's interesting and challenging, especially since my wife is a very good cook. She has her own cooking channel, and she gives me instruction on what to do, everything. It's fun. It's fun, It's a good thing to do with the missus once in a while. I really recommend everyone should do that. Every once in a while, just do something with the missus while she instructs you. And it's really fun and funny,
Well,
and it's very challenging.
I did that 3 times, I think I told you earlier, and I wound up with kids. So
Well, you can after this cooking for a month thing is finished. I'm gonna have to sing a song in Chinese. That's one of the things in the list.
Oh, I mean,
So yeah,
so that was another thing that was interesting to me as well. I mean, your
yeah,
wife's Chinese, so I mean,
yeah.
are you kind of versed in it, or is it just something that you're gonna have to learn from scratch when you do your song?
Well, I speak Chinese Mandarin, but I'm not fluent with it, and I really have to practice that song. She already picked it, so I just need to practice the song. There are some words in the song I've never learned, never used when I lived in China, so I need to learn these words still. So yeah, it's gonna be a little challenging. And also I'm tone deaf.
Oh,
I can play the music well, but I can't sing. I really can't sing.
so
Really.
is the
I know.
song that she picked for you, is it just a popular song, there, or is it something to significance to the bet that y'all had?
It is popular. The one she picked was like some kind of a remake of an old song. It's called uh, Saiwan. It's like a name of a flower in Mongolia. So this is the name of the song, but it's really nice. It's like when she explained the meaning of the song. But yeah, so can't wait to sing it and make everyone hate every Chinese song ever written because of my voice. So, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was number one on her list for you to cook for a month, and then you had the song that you
Yeah.
had or whatever. What was number one on your list for her to do?
Oh, she has to watch the whole series of Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
The reason why I picked this one, yeah, the reason why I picked this one because when I mentioned it, she said something that made me, very upset and maybe question our relationship when she said,
what?
"No, it looks boring." Yeah, and I was like, "What?" If I knew that, I would have think our relationship. So yeah, this is one of the first things. Yeah, I told her to watch. Actually, I don't remember like all of like in particular order, but I remember the first one, and the first one was the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I mean, she'll enjoy it. She'll get to the characters and everything. I know she will. Matter of fact, here to my right, as you noticed earlier, Lord of the Rings, the whole set is sitting right there.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So yeah, so hopefully she's gonna like it. She's gonna watch it, and hopefully she's gonna like it. So
Well, I mean, it
I
does.
don't think she's gonna hate it. No one hates Lord of the Rings.
And then she don't have a choice in the matter anyway because she lost a bet. Or well, it's not really a loss. It's just some requirements for success.
Exactly. Yeah. It's what it is. Yeah.
But I mean, not to harp too much on your wife or whatever. I know you love her so much and whatnot, but you're in Kuwait, and then you went to China for what now? For what
Yeah.
reason?
For 3 years, actually. 3 years. Yeah. I went there for 3 years to study, actually. And I met her actually in a cafe. I was lucky to meet her there. I was there every weekend. I just go there to write or read. It's a cafe near my home, and she was sitting almost behind me, working on her laptop. And the shocking thing is, she was singing a song in Arabic, and the place I was living at, not so many people even speak English, but I was shocked to find someone who actually sings in Arabic. And the song she was singing is a song I used to listen to when I was a kid going to school. And it was shocking to me. I just looked and I asked her, "How do you know this song? How did this song reach to you?" And she doesn't speak Arabic, but she was exposed to the Middle Eastern arts and culture, and immediately made her an interesting person to me. Because when you write Middle Eastern, when you write Arabic or whatever, you don't hear about these things, the art, the beauty about our culture. So I immediately just became interested of her, and we started dating. And our first date, actually, because I'm from Iraq, she's from China. We met halfway there. We met in an Indian restaurant, and that was our first date. Yeah, and yeah, and like I think 4 months later, actually, it's gonna be in 10 days. Yeah, exactly 10 days is our engagement anniversary.
Word. Well, congratulations.
Thanks, man.
That is freaking amazing because it's just like Kuwait,
Thanks, man.
China, and then just for
Yeah.
her something in Arabic. I mean, what are the coincidences? What are the chances of something like that just happening? You know, I mean, it was meant to be.
Exactly. And since I was a kid, I love the Orient culture and civilization, and so it's beautiful. I mean, I love the Chinese culture, and she loves the Middle East culture. And actually, our birthday is the same day, so it's really weird, you know. So, like there are so many things that fits for a movie, you know. It's like unreal, you know. So yeah, I got luck finding her. You know, I never expected someone like her to pop in my life, and there she is. Yeah. So.
Yeah. You can't expect the unexpected. It just happens.
Yeah.
I mean, and it just like you talk about Kuwait and its beauties and the hidden gems that the world may never know about or whatnot, or neglect to investigate. I've been to Kuwait many times, not by choice, but the only thing that I really know of it is they got a big Nestle Crunch factory out there, and I had some cereal. So that's all I really know of Kuwait.
Well, actually, the song she sang was a Lebanese song. Yeah, I used to listen to it on my way to work. Yeah, so on my way to school when I was a kid. So yeah.
Amazing. So
yeah,
how long have you been writing? Because I mean, you just don't wake up one day and be like, I'm gonna make a comic book. I know. I mean, it's probably got some back to it or whatnot.
Yeah, sure, of course. I mean, I started, writing in 2008, writing my first book, which became a national bestseller, and it was after actually like before I became interested in writing or creating any kind of stories. I met a group of people in Emirates who wants to make a movie, and I just gave them ideas, and they were impressed. And I thought, you know what, I think it's fun to create ideas. But I really started after I explained to one of my friends about this idea I have, a book which is called Sykes, and he called me from a DVD store asking me, what was that movie you told me about? And what do you mean, what movie? So he was explaining the story I was telling him. I said, no, that's not a movie. That's actually a book I want to write. And I remember hanging the phone and immediately went to my laptop to start my first novel. So 2008 was the first time I started writing, and I'm still writing ever since. Yeah.
Word, that's cool. So, like, what drew you to it or whatever? Is just the ability to create your own worlds and stories and whatnot? Or, I mean, did you have someone in your life that wrote or?
I mean, I was a reader before a writer. Every writer is a reader. So I remember knowing that reading books, these things was really beautiful. But when I just wanted to write, I became like I thought it's really fun. It's something like I'm really interested into creating, to do some kind of original ideas people don't know about our people.
Mhm.
Is when I came up with this Sykes thing, and I thought like the reason why what pushed me to create things is because I want people from all over the world to know something different about us. Like I'm from Iraq. What do you know about Iraq? So I want people to know something beautiful from Iraq instead of this thing. That's why I'm really working very hard to make the Epics of Enkidu, reach out there, and so people can know about the Epic of Gilgamesh, about our civilization, about our culture. I want to do that. So this is the thing that pushes me forward, is to change people's view about us.
Yes, to abolish stereotypes. I got you.
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
To speak of current times, I mean, we see what's going on in the world, the George Floyd thing and all the other stuff surrounding it or whatever. Okay. I mean, if anything that you're saying right now, I can totally understand.
Yeah, well, that's the world we live in right now, trying to change it.
a little bit at a time, block by block, brick by brick.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well said.
The story, the Epics of God damn it, Enkidu.
Of Enkidu.
God damn it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not easy to pronounce. Yeah.
And before I even get back into that or whatever, you was talking about you were a reader before you were actually a writer or whatever. It was something that you became passionate about because you love to read. That's probably why I'm having the trouble right now, because I as a bucket list thing, I wanted to write a book just to say I wrote a book, but I'm not really a reader or whatever. So it's kind of hard for me to sit down and try to write this book. So I'm the opposite end of you. It's like I don't really get into reading, so it's hard for me to write.
Well, I became a reader because I remember the first book I really was interested in was I think by James Patterson. It's called The Lake House. It's kind of a scary book, and if you want to be a reader, you have to find something you're really interested in, not just pick any book and read it. So the reason why I remember the book was that it's on the cover, it says "Do not read it alone at home," and that immediately attracted me to it. So anyone who wants to be a reader, must find a book that attracts you. There are so many books I picked up and I couldn't finish. I thought it's not for me. I just leave them. They probably are bestsellers or whatever, but it didn't, work with me. So I think it's the same thing. I mean, if you want to read something, you should find something that's you feel interested in to read. That's my advice to any writer wants to be a reader. So.
Now the motivations behind your comic book here. Go ahead and let everybody know. How did this come to be? How this project started?
Sure. Well, the Epics of Enkidu, actually, it's a comic book that features a superhero with autism, and it is a sequel to the oldest story found in human history. For those who doesn't know what that is, it's the Epic of Gilgamesh. And how it came to me is I wanted to create a comic book with a story with a character that has autism, and that was inspired by my nephew. My dear nephew has autism, and I used to spend time with him and play with him, and we were really, really close to each other. And when I see him play whatever, and he slips or whatever, he doesn't fall. He always balances himself in a very awesome way, and it makes me think, wow, he's he has fast reaction and everything. So I thought, I want to make a comic book about him, about someone who has superpowers and autistic. But I didn't know how and what character and everything. But when I was, revisiting this epic, the oldest story, Epic of Gilgamesh, there is a character who's always with Gilgamesh, who even Gilgamesh always needs his help and everything. And they're Batman and Robin, it's psychic. And I saw Enkidu, that character. He was in the story. First of all, he was odd and different from society, and he was described as having animalistic or whatever, and not uncivil. That's how they describe him and how he interacts, how he speaks. And for me, I don't know, it clicked. He's like an autistic person. I thought, wow, that's something cool, And I saw him in the comic, the story. He was even better than, for me, he was better than Gilgamesh because he was good from the beginning. Because Gilgamesh was a tyrant king, he was a bad guy, and this Enkidu guy changed him, and that makes me think, wow, this idea is really good. I can do this comic based on this story and dedicate it to my nephew. So that's how the whole thing started, and then I just, that's how I started the idea. Yeah.
Now, we established that you had previous writing experience with your first book and everything, and the works you have in between. So why a comic book and just not a traditional novel?
Honestly, every story could be told in every medium, but there are stories that fits, for example, for a movie or fits for a novel or like that. I can't imagine I would enjoy Inception as a book like I enjoyed it as a movie, for example. But yeah, there are things that looks better in different medium. When I was thinking about this story, I couldn't help thinking about it as a comic book, you know. Has with with some visuals, with a unique color in storytelling, and I thought, this story deserves to be a comic book more than being a book. And also it's a superhero story, so that's most these stories are fit to be a comic book, and yeah, that's why actually, yeah.
So previous to this, how much experience did you have actually making comic books?
Well, I started making comics after I watched a motion comic called Broken Saints, and I thought, wow, that's something nice. I want to do something like that. So I decided to search for artists to do this with me, but no one wants to work for free. So eventually, yes. So at that time I was a student. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna learn to do it myself, and started to learn how to draw, how to do digital drawing, and I looked up YouTube tutorial, which was
Oh, yeah.
really difficult. It's really difficult to push these things, but when you believe in something, you push forward. And eventually I learned how to draw digitally, and I did this motion comic called Team Genesis. I did 2 episodes of those, and that's how I started making comics. Yeah, so this is my experience with creating comics, and I have a big experience in writing. I'm better as a colorist, so I have actually another artist who does the penciling and the inking.
Okay.
So we teamed up to create this the Epics of Enkidu.
Sweet. So, learning the drawing process and the inking and all that stuff. I mean, you speak about the inking there, so I believe that's going to answer the question a little bit. But what has been I guess, the most fun or the best part of drawing for you and learning that whole process? And what is the least enjoyable portion of it as well?
Well, and if you're talking just about drawing, well, since I'm just the colorist, it's easy to do these the coloring thing. I mean, the coloring is, yeah, it's not just my problem is the lighting. I try to get the lighting right
Yes.
to make some. No, because coloring is like cinematography. You want to draw the reader to something specific. It helps to amplify the story. So coloring the beginning, everything you can put the flats, but when you try to do the I forgot what it calls, but highlights and the lights and everything. That's the part that needs more thinking. Yeah, so this part is the most difficult for me. The most enjoyable part, I would say, when I do the storyboard,
Okay.
because I do the storyboard thing, like a quick sketch, like each page takes around 10 minutes, and I send it to my artist, and try to explain. So I think the trying to imagine the scene, this is my favorite part. I like to do that.
I got
The
you.
storyboard thing. So,
The foundation of the thing.
exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, you got somebody else trying to help you create your vision and whatnot. I mean, do you feel like you have a person currently that's kind of jiving with what you're putting down on paper and whatnot?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a what we call it, like a cooperative thing. Like two minds collide sometimes. So yeah, I mean, my artists sometimes have like a different vision. So it's we try to compromise and see which is best for the story. Eventually. And actually, my artist is very, very good. Sometimes most of the time I go with his idea. Like when I show him the storyboard and I tell him this, he does something different, and like with the pause, not like that. And I tell him, yeah, that's good. And sometimes, I tell him, no, just change that, do this that way. But most of the time, I just go with his artistic style. He's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Now, so I mean, you sound like you're gelling well and everything. You got a good rapport with your artists and whatnot. What did it take to get to that point? Because you already mentioned that people ain't working for free, and exposure is not really a good payment option and whatnot. So I mean, what was the process of you finding a guy that was willing to work with you in your project?
Well, well, first of all, I mean, I found him through Facebook. There are lots of art groups in there, so that's how I reached out to him, and I saw his art thing, his portfolio, and like he also doesn't work for free, to be honest. That's why that's one of the reasons I did the Indiegogo campaign, to get some money for him, to do the inking and everything, and I'll do the rest. Um, and, so it's like a trial and error thing. I first see which artist fits, and I actually went through three artists until I found my last one, the one I'm gonna use most of the time. His name is Moiso Moniz, and he's really good. He's really good. So yeah, I'm going with this guy, and his art is really good. I'm not sure if you've seen his works lately. He created those characters from the perks. I have a perk from the Indiegogo, like you can become my main character in my comic book, and I'm gonna do a poster of you as a character, and you get So we created some of those posters, and more of them coming. And I'm not sure if you've seen these posters, but they look pretty awesome. He worked very well on those. So yeah.
Word, that's freaking awesome. So, when you have any creative ideas that you're putting down, to where it's your comic book or any of your other creative writings and whatnot, what is your support level at home with your wife and everything like that?
She's extremely supportive. I mean, really supportive. I mean, a lot of times, I'm doing the coloring or working on research and everything, and especially during these quarantine times, where most of us have nothing else to do, and I'm the one mostly working with this thing. So, I mean, to see how she really got my back and support me in this thing, it's really something I cannot put into words, and I'm a writer. So yeah, that's how moved I am with her, and of course my family also, they're really supportive of the idea, and I actually can't wait to finish the first issue at least, so I can give it to my nephew because he still doesn't know about it. So I want to.
It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you need to record that. I need to see that.
Hopefully, yeah. I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Oh yeah. So man, you kind of hit me in the heartstrings with that one or whatever. So you kind of threw my train of thought off. Because I mean, it's the same thing here or whatever. I've been doing this show for 4 years or whatever, and I've had a habit in the past of being interested in a lot of things and not really following through. So when it came to doing this, my wife was like, "Oh, this is another one of your broken toys or whatever. You're just gonna play with it for a little while, then you're gonna cast it aside and never to be heard from again and whatnot." So in the beginning of the show, I didn't really get that firm support. But as the time went on or whatever, she seen that I was actually sticking with it. I didn't cast it out and throw it down and whatnot. And when she seen I was all in, she became all in and whatnot. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, it really is, because there was at times I was just like, this shit sucks, I want to quit. And then she actually told me that I was doing good, and it just like it reinvigorated me and made me want to keep going and pushing and everything. So here I am.
How many years have you been married, you two, if I may ask?
Going on 13 years in September.
Oh, well, on June it will be our first year, so she's supportive now. So let's see how in the future how level of support is gonna go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, yeah. You got a ways to go, but I mean, you look like you got a good start. So I mean, that's always a good basis for anything. You got a good foundation, so it'll build from there. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna knock on wood over here. So, not in addition to being a writer and everything, you're a dentist?
Yeah. I'm a dentist, yeah.
Word. So mean, you got an interesting combo there. You like to write and everything and illustrate, and you also like to dig in people's mouth and make
Also, people on the chair, yeah.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
If this comic book goes well, you make a series and whatnot. Your next thing to need to be like a dentist superhero or a dentist supervillain. That's what you need to do. Maybe a supervillain, because dentists be all in your mouth and your teeth and.
Yeah, sure. Can't imagine that, Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, actually, there's a book I've seen. I've never read. It's called The Demon Dentist, and it's actually aimed for kids. And I was like, that's not a book you should give for a kid, because I have kid patients, and the worst thing about a kid patient is try to convince them it's not, it's not scary, So, yeah.
Yeah, that's counterproductive to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially it's like whenever you take a kid to your doctor or whatever, they have to get shots and shit, and it's just like, in your mind that there's going to be some level of discomfort, some kind of pain, because you're an adult, you've been through this all your life with doctor's visits and everything. But for a young child that's never experienced a instance like this, it's just like, how do you calm them down or even prepare them mentally and everything? Because they're gonna cry.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I actually treated my nephew. It was he was one of my most difficult patients I've ever seen. He has autism, but because I have a strong connection and everything. At the beginning, I was very excited, and when he saw me with my scrubs and everything, he was like, "I want to be a dentist." He was keep saying that, and just after we finished, like every time I asked him, "You want to be a dentist?" He said, "No." He said, "No." So, it was difficult to treat him, but still, I don't think I can treat him again. So yeah, keep telling him, brush your teeth, or else you're gonna have to deal with me.
See, and that's good. Fear can be a good motivator sometimes. It's like, you remember that pain that you felt this last time? If you brush your teeth, you never have to feel that again.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Mm. So, I mean, shit, hell, what drove you toward that or whatever? Dentistry.
Actually, it's a funny story. When I finished high school, I had, good grades or whatever, not too high, not too low, but, enough to, choose almost any career. Another time I didn't know what I want to be. I was thinking, I just want to finish high school. I didn't know what I want to be. And my young brother, we were very close, and his wish was to be a dentist, at the time. And he was, he was keep saying that, okay, how about you become a dentist and I become a dentist? We can, open a clinic together one day and everything. And I was like, what? Not a bad idea. So I went to study dentistry. Yeah. Right now, he's doing his PhD in engineering in Canada. He betrayed me.
He set you up.
Well, actually, I'm glad he took that path. Actually, engineering is really, really good, and he's very good at these things. And honestly, I don't think he'd like dentistry. Like I do.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's engineering of the teeth, so
Yeah, it's engineering, medicine, a little art. You need to shape the teeth and everything. So yeah, it's like has something from everything, I guess.
It brings it all together, whatnot. It creativity in the teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, so what else you got going on in there? We got dentistry, we got a author and everything, an illustrator and whatnot. I mean, what's something else that you would like to throw out there for the audience to know about?
All right. I actually did a movie last year, a feature movie, and it's on Amazon right now. It's got selected a couple of movies. It was a horror movie, and I filmed it in China actually with a very low budget, just $3,000. Of course, I did almost everything, the composing, the music, the editing, everything. So that saved a lot of money.
Yes.
But yeah, this is one of the things I've done. And this is the only thing I also did. I did the movie, horror movie. It's called Callous.
Okay,
I can send you the trailer later. Yeah.
I love Amazon Prime right now. I'm gonna look for it.
Yeah, and actually, it's I mean, even though it has good reviews and everything, whoever watched it in Prime didn't realize it's just $3,000 movie. He thought he's gonna watch an Oscar movie or whatever, so the rating is not too high. But actually, it was fun. It's more of an experience than a movie, you know.
Yeah, I
So,
mean,
yeah.
another one of those notches on the ability. I can say that I successfully directed and produced the movie. You know.
Yeah, yeah, I did that, and so it's like my first thing ever, you know, first movie ever. But yeah, actually, I was proud of it. You know, I enjoyed it. A lot of people who watched it enjoyed it. You know, so it's fun.
So how did we get there? Did your brother betray you again?
Yeah, and I thought I made a horror movie about. It's actually because I'm a writer. Again, I was in China, and I got a friend here. This is the film crew, actually, the people I worked with, and this guy, he made a couple of indie movies when I was there. He's a friend I met there, and you know, I had a lot of ideas, and I write in my notebook, and I told him of this idea, and I thought, you know, we can do that, and you know, suddenly, you know, there's this saying in this book called The Alchemist. When you really want something, the universe conspire in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to make this movie, and suddenly the right people appeared. One of them is Nicobe Johnson. He's a guy from Chicago, America. He's a cinematographer. You know, he taught me everything about cinematography. He appeared, you know, for me, and I found an actress. She's a student. She's studying acting and everything, and she became very interested in the movie. And like I met all the right people suddenly. When I wanted to make that movie. So it's like the universe conspired in my favor, and I did this movie. It was a really nice experience, you know. And yeah, that's how I got there. You know, I just met the right people at the right time, and yeah,
See,
it fits. You know.
I mean, it seems to be a theme with you, man. You just happen to hear somebody singing a song, and here we are. You know,
These things happen like once a year. You know, most of the time I'm unlucky.
hey man, once a
Yeah.
year is good. That's a good recurrence, man. Some people should be so lucky. Some people only get one opportunity in the span of a lifetime for stuff to line up like that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, but that's freaking amazing.
Yeah, thank God.
I really don't believe coincidence or whatever. I mean, I just believe that, you know, everything is kind of lined up to where it's supposed to go. I mean, there's some deviations here and there, but for the most part, you wind up in where you need to be most of the time.
I believe that too. Yeah, I believe that too. I never expected I'm gonna be in China actually one day. I never expected to find my wife there, but it happens. So yeah,
Exactly.
feel lucky.
Yeah. And yeah, man. Well, sir, I am lucky to have you as a guest to just share these
Thanks.
excellent moments and everything, man. You got a whole bunch of interesting stories, a lot of coincidences, which I enjoy, a good coincidence and whatnot, you know. And but our time has elapsed. But before you go, let everybody know where they can find you on social media, and clue them into where they can support your Indiegogo. Well,
sure. Well,
right.
awesome. That's fine. Well, you can find me on Twitter. My account is Hero Autistic without any underscore or anything. You can find me on Instagram if you prefer that. It's Hero_Autistic. You can try to join my Facebook group. It's called the Epics of Enkidu. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Ahmed Alameen. I'm thinking of changing that to something else. I'm not sure what yet. Yeah, and you can, you know, hopefully if you want to have a, an issue and support this comic book, it's really for a good cause. It's meant to raise acceptance and awareness about autism. And actually, the comic book has some information about international charity organization for autism for people to reach out to. So I hope you can help me to, spread this, the outward. If you want to support my comic, you can go to Indiegogo and just write the Epics of Enkidu. You cannot miss it. And I really look forward to finish this book in full color and give it to you, as soon as the campaign ends. So,
Word. So
thanks, bro.
it is with every guest of the Random Rambles with Rob. You have been here, and the door is always open for you to come back to promote your next big thing, or just to come and hang out, shoot shit.
Thanks. No, I love that, man.